Hi buddy, hope you're well. In today's video I'm going to show you how I created this photograph of my friend Demi with off-camera flash and tinfoil. Boom! So this video is a little bit different to what I normally do because this is a YouTube video, but I am filming this whole shoot for a Flashmasters tutorial. Now, if you're not aware, Flashmasters is the online photography community that I set up with my partner Helen Williams 3 years ago now, and we are so proud of what we have in Flashmasters. It started out as being seen as an award site. However, Flashmasters is now so much more than that, and education is at the heart of everything we do. So as well as our community and our private Facebook group and the awards, which are incredible, the standard of entry we get is insane. Education is at the basis of everything that we do at Flashmasters. And my favorite part of the education which we offer is Flashmaster tutorials, which are dedicated videos which are split up into easy to digest chapters which will either help you grow your business or teach you specific techniques. For example, we already have in the Flashmaster tutorial section my full length 1 hour long plus introduction to off-camera flash tutorial. That, by the way, is completely free to all members. So if you join Flashmasters now, you can watch that whole tutorial completely for free. But as well as that, we also have creative portraits with Big H Studios and Christine Cardona, images with impact with Chris Benavides, bridal portraits with Natalie Martin, how to shoot in midday sun with Moira and Jessie LaPlante, halo pat portraits with Drew Dodd, how to shoot champagne spray with Jeff Tisman, how to make epic portraits in boring locations with Arnaud de Brown, how to shoot sparklers with Scott Josewhite, how to shoot astrophotography with Jesse and Darlin, how to shoot wedding rings with George Pompilio, how to film and edit behind the scenes video for Reels and TikTok with myself, and last but not least, how to shoot the dance floor with Helen Williams, who by the way is actually holding the camera here. So there is so much to go at already in the Flashmaster tutorial section. And that's not even talking about our live stream section. We have 100+ hours of live stream interviews with the very best photographers in the world, including Jason Vincent, Christine Cardona, Nelson Santos, Amber Henry, Tanya Parada, Jeff Tisman, Ben Connolly, Andre Brown, and so many more. So that's just some of the content that we have on the website already, and this is going to show you, it's going to give you a little teaser about what you can expect in Flashmaster tutorial. So from this point onwards, this is going to be a tutorial, and remember, if you want to join Flashmasters, there are 2 tiers. There's the free tier where you can make your own profile page completely for free, so you get all that good stuff, you can show off your work on the Flashmasters website for free. That will also allow you to watch my full introduction to off-camera flash tutorial as well, as just mentioned. But if you join us on a pro membership, you'll get access to everything. Entry into the monthly award, all the Flashmaster tutorials, watch the streams live, watch them back afterwards, access to our Facebook group. There's so much that we offer. So I'm now going to go into Flashmaster tutorial mode and pass you over to me for the proper introduction to this tutorial. Over to me. Welcome to the first tutorial of my new Flashmaster tutorial series called Something from Nothing. In these tutorials, I will be showing you lots of setups, techniques and ideas to help you create creative portraits when the venue or the location that you're in is basically not offering you anything exciting. I have sadly photographed countless weddings where the venue is, well, just a bit boring, and whereas that's not a problem for documentary photography, which is obviously all about the moment and the people, if you are a wedding photographer and you have been booked by your couple to create really cool, unique, creative portraits, then it can be a bit trickier. Thankfully though, off-camera lighting and creative thinking can always help you out, and that is what I'll be helping you with in this series. All the photographs on the screen now were taken in situations where I basically had to create every element of the photograph myself. In this first video, I will be showing you how I created these portraits of my friend Demi in my garage, which, trust me, is just about the most boring location to shoot in possible. But thankfully, with off-camera flash and tinfoil, we created some pretty cool portraits. And in the final chapter of each tutorial in this Something for Nothing series, I will be showing you how I edited one of my favourite photographs from each shoot. Oh, and if you do try any of the techniques in this series, please do share your images in the Flashmasters Facebook group. I would love to see them. So we're going to start off with the most simple setup for a shot like this. Firstly, let's talk about how I'm going to be lighting Demi, our model. I'm going to light her with the Magbox Pro 24, and in there is a Godox V100. That's 100 watts of power, which is going to be a lot for what we need in here. Should just say, as I've just said in the introduction, this shot is all about creating something from nothing. So I'm trying basically just to shoot in a cave. Thankfully, our garage more or less is that. So nothing in this room is actually of any relevance to this shot. I'm creating everything with my camera and my flash. So again, Demi's going to be lit with the Magbox Pro 24, Godox V100 in there, and I do have the grid on this Magbox. That is because I'm trying to ensure that the light that comes out of the Magbox does not hit this background, because again, I'm trying to show you how we can create this shot using nothing of our environment that is already there. We're bringing everything to this party. So the grid is going to stop the light from hitting this background. So when Demi stands here, it will just hit her. If I were to take off the grid, that light would be hitting the background. Wouldn't be a big deal, but it would defeat the object to create something from nothing. So that's how we're going to be lighting Demi. Notice that I've got this Magbox on a C stand. If this were a real wedding scenario, then I would be asking Helen, who is kindly filming this, to hold this, or I would have this on a light stand. Either way, I would like it to be placed above Demi, as it will be here. Demi's probably similar height to me, maybe a bit shorter, but she will be about here, so it's above her, and it's going to come down at her on an angle which is going to create nice Rembrandt window type light. So that's how Demi's going to be lit. And then over here, I'll actually turn this light round. We've got this light on because I want you to be able to see me in the garage. So we're going to turn that round, and eventually I'm going to be putting a piece of tin foil here, and I'm going to use 2 speed lights to light that tin foil. Let's actually do that now. Here is our tin foil, or I think it's called aluminium. Aluminium something in the US? Aluminum. This is the way that I do this. Got to get quite a big piece. Should just say what you want to do when you're buying your aluminum foil, whatever. You want to try and get as wide, yeah, that was wrong, as wide a piece as you can. We did in the kitchen this morning only have quite a small size, so Helen very kindly went out and bought a longer one. And then, this is the tricky bit, because this is quite thin. You can get quite thick tinfoil, but this is quite thin. You want to scrunch it up, and then very carefully unscrunch it, which is easier said than done when it's very thin. I don't think Helen went to a very expensive shop for this.
All of the thick foil, they weren't as long. I was struggling to find. Oh no, this is going.
Right, okay, I'm now going to put a little hole in the middle of it, and this is what we're going to use to shoot through. I'm going to push my finger through, and we'll just do something like that for now. Now what I'm going to do is get 2 light stands. Here's one I prepared earlier. We'll put one here. I'm going to put that on there, and then I will use this one, and then that will go about there. That should be about right. Perfect. Now if I just show you the back of the camera, we've got like foreground bokeh appearing, and the reason for that is because there are shiny bits obviously on the tin foil. It's like shooting through leaves, shooting through glasses. Any surface that has like reflective shiny areas will give you nice foreground bokeh. So this is like the perfect example of that, because there's so many shiny surfaces, and when we add our light source onto this, it's going to look really effective. So that's the basic setup. What I'll then do when we're shooting is I will add 2 speed lights to the aluminium foil. Both of these speed lights will be Godox V860s, which are little tiny speed lights, 76 watts power, not that strong, which is good because I don't need a lot of power for this at all. I'll have one on this side, and this one will come on the other side, like that. And the important thing, these two Godox V860s will have on them a coloured Magmod gel. I personally just like to use contrasting colours, so I'll probably go for maybe purple on this side and maybe red on the other. And that will give us really nice, colourful foreground bokeh on the tinfoil for which we're going to shoot through. So that's the setup. It's very, very simple. If I were doing this on the wedding day, I would get to this point before I've even got the bride and groom out. It would take me 2 or 3 minutes at the most. It's very, very straightforward. In fact, the longest part is probably just scrunching up your tin foil and putting the hole in it. Once you've got that, you're most of the way there. So that's the basic setup in terms of our off-camera flash and the tin foil. The other thing that's very, very important if you're going to try and create a something for nothing shot like this is to shoot on a lens which has a very wide aperture. So for me, I would always suggest using a prime lens for a shot like this because it's shooting on a wide aperture that will make the foreground go very out of focus, which is what we want. If we were to take this shot on, say, f8, you'd be able to see all this foreground in more detail, and for me that would just destroy the look that I'm trying to get. So I like to take this shot on a prime lens at the widest aperture that I can. In today's tutorial I will be using, I'll try a few lenses, but I'll be using my 35mm f1.8, an 85mm f1.4 and a 105mm f1.4, and you can see what the difference is. So that's the basic setup that you would use for your speed lights and for your lenses. What I'll now do is go and grab Demi and we'll start shooting. Okay, so first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Demi for doing this. First time actually I've ever shot Demi, not in bridal, I think. I also feel bad for Demi because she's just come back from this amazing, really cool, stylish shoot in Paris, and now she's here in the garage. So yeah, sorry Demi, I can't quite match Paris for you, but yeah, don't want to lose this. I've also just turned this light off because I don't want that to be interfering with anything. I do have these lights on now. They are just so that I can get focus. If Helen, can you come around here and I'll take a shot without the speed light on with the settings that I'm going to use. We've got a little bit of light in the foreground. That's just coming from basically the natural light of the window. But you can see that there's no light whatsoever on Demi. So that's good. That's giving me a very clean base on which to build on. Settings wise, I know, as I've just mentioned, that I want to be at a very wide aperture because that is what's going to throw this foreground out. So I'm going to go to 1.8. If I had a 35mm 1.4, I would go to 35mm 1.4, but I don't. So 1.8. I want to kill the ambient now with my other settings. So shutter speed, going to go to 1/250th. I don't want to go into high speed sync. If I did, that would just mean that the flash would have to be a bit higher. I might end up having recycle problems. So I'm going to go to 1/250th my shutter speed, and my ISO I'm actually going to drop lower than 100. In fact, let's go to 50. And again, let's take a shot without the speed light being on, just to see if we can kill more of the light that's falling on that foreground. Yeah, there's barely anything now in the foreground, as you can see. So everything that you see in this shot will be coming from one of my speed lights. So first of all, before I light up the tin foil, let's just turn on speed light A, which is the mag box, which is above Demi, which has got the V100 in it. And I'm going to use the Godox V3 trigger. Very easy to use. You can see at the moment that speed light is set to 64 power. And again, just to show you where Demi is stood in relation to the mag box, you can see that she's very close to it. That is because, well, one, we're in a small space, but also the closer you have your light source, it becomes bigger because it's closer, and that means that the light will be softer. The larger your softbox is relative to the size of your subject, the softer the light quality will be. It also means that we get a dramatic fall off as well. What fall off means is when the light hits Demi's head here, it will quickly stop having any effect down here. If that softbox was much higher, the fall off would be bigger, but I actually want quite a dramatic fall off. So to get a dramatic fall off, you want your light source to be nice and close. As you can see again, it is very close to Demi here. So let's see what we get now, just by shooting through the tinfoil with no light on it. Cool. Yeah, that looks really cool as it is, which is almost not what I wanted, because that looks really good. Demi, that's amazing.
Oh.
I might just turn up that speed light a little bit. Let's go to 32 power, but I am well pleased with this. So yeah, you might find 3, 2, 1, Demi. Really good. Very cool. Yeah, these look amazing, Demi. This look really looks good. So you might find when you're shooting through the tinfoil that your lens is struggling to focus. If that's the case, you can do what I'm doing here, which is to focus on Demi above and then move your camera down, making sure that you're still the same distance away, and then 3, 2, 1. Really good. I've never seen Demi pose like this before, but that was hot. Really good. Yeah, look at that.
Is it worth mentioning that some speed lights will have a modelling light, or depending on what you're using?
Great point. Now, the V100 does have a modelling light, and I can turn that on the V3 trigger, but my guess is it won't be strong enough to overpower that light. We've already seen that that light above Demi is not affecting the exposure, but it will be competing with the modelling light. So if I turn the modelling light on, like that, it's not going to be strong enough. Oh, maybe it will be if I turn it up. Do you know what we can now do though? We can maybe turn off this light. So you can see that we can see Demi now. Oh, Helen's a genius.
Thank you.
Gorgeous, Demi. Ah, that's interesting. Because I've turned these lights off, we're not getting, which is good,
yeah,
we're not getting any light at all, any ambient light on the tinfoil. That's good. So what we'll do is we'll light up the tinfoil ourselves. Let's turn this light on first. I'm going to put this one as C. That has, as you can see, a red Magmod gel on. And this one over here has a purple Magmod gel on. And this is going to be Speedlight B. Now I want both of these to be on a very low power, because if these are too strong, that foreground bokeh is going to get blown out, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to put both of those, that's B and C, onto 128 power. So that's good to know, that the V860 Mark III will go to 256 power. This is the Mark II, which will just go to 128. Well, let's just see what that gives us anyway. The main thing to say is that these two lights are on their minimum power. I'm also, before I do anything, going to turn off the light lighting Demi up, just to show you that these should hopefully be having zero effect on Demi. So this isn't counting Demi. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, they don't, as you can see there. So we've got really nice foreground bokeh, but there is no light at all on Demi. Okay, let's turn A on now. That's back to 132. Gorgeous, Demi. 3, 2, 1. Very cool. Notice as well how far my camera lens is away from the tinfoil. That has a big effect. Perfect, Demi. Going very close now. 3, 2. Demi's nailing these, really good. The closer I put it, the bigger the bokeh balls go, as we say in the trade. Perfect, Demi, loving these. Yeah, stunning. Just looking up towards the light, if you can, please, Demi. Yeah, love it. Very cool. Gonna go a bit closer, and then we're gonna change our lens. 3, 2, 1. Really good. Gonna turn A, the light that's lighting Demi, up to a 16th. And last one. Love that. Perfect, these, Demi, thank you. Now I'm going to change the colours. I'm going to go for a very cool foreground. So we've got purple on one side, and I'm going to put a half CTB gel, which is basically a blue gel, on the other side. And then I will change my lens. Gorgeous Demi, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I really like that. Really good. Yeah, smashing these, Demi, thank you. Right, before we move on to setup 2, where I will introduce a 4th light behind Demi, just to give her a little bit of separation from the background, I'm going to change my lens from the 35mm to an 85mm f1.4. I'm now on my Viltrox 85mm f1.4, so that's giving me the opportunity to go to a wider aperture. That could have an adverse effect on the speed lights, because the wider your aperture, the more light gets in. So that means that the speed lights may appear to be a bit too bright. If that is the case, I will go into high speed sync. But let's just see what we get first of all, with all the settings being exactly the same, and that is 1/250th with my shutter speed, f1.4, ISO 50. Now I might need to make this hole a little bit bigger so I can focus. Perfect, Demi, 3, 2, 1. Nice. So I'm now going to go into high speed sync, because as you can see, everything's just a bit too bright, and I'm already at ISO 50 and 1/250th. So in order to bring that ambient down more, I'd have to put ND filters on all the speed lights, but I only have one, so I can't do that. So what I'm going to do instead is go to high speed sync. So I'm going to keep my aperture at 1.4, keep my ISO at ISO 50, and go to 1/640 with my shutter speed. And I'm also going to increase the power of speed light A, which is lighting up Demi, to 1/8 power. And let's see what that gives us. Really nice.
Such a different look on the 85 as well, isn't it? The size of the bokeh ball.
Yes, great point from Helen in terms of the difference in the look. As you can see, that is amazing, Demi. It's so weird to me to shoot Demi with such a different look, but I love that. And as you can see, as Helen's just said, there is a very big difference in terms of the look between the 35mm and the 85. Again, there is no right or wrong, it's very much personal preference, but just by changing your lens, you can get a very different effect. What I'm now going to do is add a lighting behind Demi, just to help separate her from the background, and we'll do that in our next setup. So I'm going to add an AD200 behind Demi now. Now, that's a very powerful light, 200 watts of power, so it's double the strength, or double the power rather, of the V100 that is lighting up Demi, and it's nearly 3 times as strong as the lights that are lighting up the foreground. I don't need anywhere near as much power as this is going to give me, but to be honest, I've got to go in the house to get the other lights, and what I'd much prefer to do, because I'm being lazy, I'm going to add on an ND filter onto this light. What that will do, it will make this AD200 appear to be far less powerful, which means that I can play around with the power settings a bit more. So this is going to be speed light D, and I'm going to just put this not directly behind Demi, but just to the side of her. So it's going to backlight from the side. So we'll put this about here. About there will be nice. You won't see this in the shot because this will be hidden by the tin foil. So that is speed light D. Let's put the channel correct. Let's go back over to Studio A. I've still got my Viltrox 85mm 1.4 lens on. I'm going to keep that on for now. So we've got A on 1/4 power, B 128, C 128, D 132. And let quick test, yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I need to turn D up. Let's go to 1/4 power. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you can just see how the back of Demi's now lit up a bit more. Love it. What I'll just do before we finish is go to the 35mm. Just to reiterate whilst we're in this setup as well, the whole step. So with my Something From Nothing series, I'm constantly trying to create images where I'm only using off-camera flash. I'm not using any of the pre-existing light or the environment. So again, my whole sort of task in here was to try and take a shot that if I turn off the speed light gives me a completely black exposure, and then we add everything. And what we do is we add everything with purpose and in an order. So I would always recommend starting by using your speed light A to light your couple or your subject, whatever it may be, on its own before you do anything else. Get that exposure correct, then build up in stages as we've done here. So we started off by just lighting Demi with A. We've then introduced our foreground bokeh, which is the tin foil. We've then introduced the lights lighting the foil, and then we've introduced a light behind Demi. So go through the steps. That being said, I've now gone back to my 35mm f1.8. I'm going to stay in high speed sync and just see what happens with the same settings. However, we're now at 1.8, so I can probably get away with going to ISO 100 now. So let's just try this for the last shots. Nice, really good, Demi. Now, if I'm being really picky, I can see the top of that speed light in the frame there. So let's just try and fill that by making that hole a little bit smaller at that point and filling in that bit there. Yes, really good. I'm going to drop my ISO to 64. Gorgeous, Demi. Brilliant, thank you so much, Demi. In fact, what I want to do, because I said at the beginning, and this is purely just for me, I want to see what happens if I use the big boy, the Sigma 105mm f1.4 lens. This lens is an absolute beast. It's not the most practical lens in the world, but when it comes to portraits, it's probably my favorite lens. So let's go to 1.4 on this, keep everything exactly the same. I'm going to put my ISO back down to 50, and just notice how the bokeh is going to look very different because that one is stunning. Because obviously we're on a longer focal length. I'm also, because of that longer focal length, further back now from the tin foil. So always play around with the distances to get different effects. The further back I go, the smaller the bokeh balls become. There, Demi's perfect. Yeah, really good. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Demi. You have nailed that. So what I'm now going to do to end this tutorial is show you how I'm going to edit one or two of my favorite photographs from this shoot. So let's go over to me in Lightroom. Okay everyone, that is the end of the Flashmaster tutorial. So if you watch this on the Flashmaster tutorial page, you will see me now editing one of these images. I'm going to hold that back for Flashmasters Pro members. This, as I mentioned in the intro, is the start of my Something From Nothing series, where I'll be showing a number of tutorials where each time I am creating portraits where I am not relying on anything from the external environment, where I'm introducing everything myself using off-camera flash. So, as always, if you've got any questions about anything I've done in this video, please let me know in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Massive thank you to the new rock star, Demi, over there. And huge thank you, as always, to Helen for helping me. Remember, Helen is not my camera person. She is an incredible photographer in her own right. She's a Magmod ambassador. She co-founded Flashmaster. She just does this on the side. So yeah, thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you next time. Perfect. I think that was good.